How did you get into animation as well as voice acting?
Well, ever since I was a little kid, I grew up watching like all the kids' channels. I'm trying to name off the top of my head. I know like there is a lot like I didn't grow up with. I know if you're thinking of like Tiny Living or the Children's Channel, I didn't grow up with that. We weren't, we had channels, but not a lot. I think we had like CBBS,
I watched
CITV.
that.
Yeah, I know a lot of people who say, "Oh, I grew up with CBeebies. I grew up with CITV only, Nick Jr. only, Playhouse Disney only." But me, I grew up with like all four of like the main channels, so, like CBeebies,
I watched a lot
CITV.
of them too.
Yeah, so and Nick Jr. and Playhouse Disney and stuff like that. Um, I mainly preferred the animation shows over the live action content that was produced for the channels. They just interested me in some way because it was just colourful and stuff, and it just stimulated my senses due to being. I was diagnosed with autism at the age of 4, so I got it quite early. So I got the support I needed and stuff like that, and so I watched these cartoons and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, like I love these fictional characters. Like I want to live in their world. And it continued like up until pretty much today, even because growing up, like cartoons, like I just loved them, like different eras, like British cartoons and American cartoons. And essentially nowadays I'm into like the Warner Brothers cartoons. So if you're thinking like Batman the animated series, Animaniacs, Superman the animated series, Tiny Toon Adventures,
And
every
Batman.
yeah, and Batman and Batman Beyond as well. Absolutely love that. So yeah, so it's all that sort of like kids Warner Brothers era that I'm currently into at the moment. And did you just say animation or did you say voiceover as well?
And as well as voice acting.
As well as voice acting. Okay. The voice acting part, pardon?
Sorry, I was just
That's
saying
okay.
it again. Sounded it. Yeah.
That's
Okay.
okay. That's okay. So for the voiceover part, when I was little, I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. Essentially, my career path changed as I, experimented with different, like, parts of whatever industry I was into at the moment. So then I think when I was like 14, I discovered like the Disney afternoon cartoons like DuckTales, Gummy Bears, Gargoyles, Chip and Dale. And you just see these voice actors and you're thinking, oh my gosh, these guys do such a really good job. They essentially do this for a living. They talk for a living. And then I started reaching out to some of them. Like I think Katie Lee, Jim Cummings, and Rob Paulson, I think were like my first three I reached out to. They were really lovely, yeah. And to meet Rob in person was was really great after meeting him, talking to him about 4 years beforehand. Um, so I was like, what if I could do this? I could be a voiceover actress. So I started, dabbling more, and then I got into Rocky and Bullwinkle and everything like that. And then 2019 came along, and I got more into media obsessed stuff. So I was interviewed
You.
at, pardon?
Like media obsessed stuff. What do you mean?
Yes. Well, when I was at EAG, I was interviewed for a video game, no, amusement arcade magazine called Intergame. So I was sort of being sought after like through my channel, if you understand what I'm saying. Um, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to try and put myself out there more. I was like, I could do voiceover, and I kind of dabbled it. I was like, sort of in that sort of fan area for a good few months, and then autumn of 2019 came around, and I think it was, oh, what was he? I think he was one of the managers at Northern Leisure. I can't remember his name, but he worked at that. Do excuse the sound. My neighbour's just started his motorbike up, so just
That's
bear with me.
okay.
I'm just gonna close the window really quickly.
That's okay.
So his name is Gareth, and he was like,
Yeah.
look, we're making a new ride. It's a helicopter. Obviously, I've not seen the design because this was just like early planning stage. And he was like, do you want to be the voice of it? And I'm like, okay, sure. I never really considered having my voice on a kiddie ride, but yeah, sure, I'd be more than happy to. So he was like, okay, I'll send you the lines in the next few weeks. So I got these lines, and there's about 5 lines I had to say. There's two now that aren't on the model that's in Telford because they were activated when the joystick was interacted with, but of course that's gone. So I has had to say these lines. So I think Oh, hang on, there's a bug on my desk. That's gross. Sorry, I get really distracted easily by anything that's like
That's
near me or
okay.
anything like that.
That's
Um,
okay.
so I had to say stuff like heli to tower, come in tower, and up, up and away. Rotor power, heli to
Alex
the
to the
rescue.
rescue!
It feels weird because I ask people to do their voice things all the time, and like, this is me doing it now, and you're thinking, wow, I'm in their position. Yeah, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And to see the ride in 2020 was just, it was amazing. Just to see it in person. And I'm glad I got to see it in person before, like the whole world shut down and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then of course MH Leisure got the ride about 2 years later, and they sighted it in Telford, and that's the exact prototype that was in London that I saw, that is in at the Telford Centre now. And of course, I did Cookie Trails, and last March, I was really just reaching out to people, asking, "Are you looking for voice actors?" Just putting myself out there. They listened to my little demo reel, which was just a compilation of voices I did. I just put together on a tape, and they were like, "Yeah, sure, we want to come and audition you." They're like, "Yeah, okay." Well, they added me on Discord, and then they started talking to me. And then I auditioned for two characters, one of which was Apple, the other one was Gigi, which I didn't end up was Marissa Maisel. Maisel, I probably pronounced her name wrong, but her name was Marissa, and she's a voice actress, and she's the one who got the role of Gigi. And they said, well, there's this other role that we're interested in getting you for. Basically, no one's auditioned for her because she's British and not really. We haven't found anyone suitable, and we're like, do you want to be Prestella? I'm like, sure. And this was before I got cast as Apple, so I was already cast as Prestella. And then I got cast as Apple. And then Soraya it was a stand-in because the original voice actress left for personal reasons. So they wanted a sound like for her, so I had to go. And then as the recording sessions went on, I kind of just turned Soraya into my own sort of voice. And then Newbie, I think, was a later addition as well, and I got to do a good few recording sessions for her as well. And the photo booth that I did at the start of this year was
Yes.
your recording session was like just before Christmas it was, so I did it downstairs, and I had to do it like sort of RP English professional. So it's like for official ID and documentation photo. Ooh.
What's RP English?
RP is something pronunciation. I can't remember for the life of me. RP
That's
English.
okay.
I always forget. I always forget what it means. Hold on. RP English, received pronunciation. So it's got a little bit more diction, and you pronounce pretty much every single word in the word. Pretty
Yeah,
much.
like it
Yeah.
on a machine.
Yeah, pretty much like really posh like and stuff like that. So they didn't want an northern booth. It's like, all right, put your change in, geezer, get your picture taken. But then so I just had to just like, can you just do RP English? And I'm like, okay. So I did that, and then of course it's now being distributed. And I try to think. There's one in Telford, there's one in Warrington, there's one in Leicester. I can't think where the others are, but they're definitely a shopping centres where MH has the contract. Sorry for the long-winded answer, but there you have it.
I'm planning to actually go see the photo booth at some point
Oh, really? Where at Telford or Leicester?
at Telford.
Oh, nice one. I'm not sure. Is Leicester's no Telford would be closer to, wouldn't it? Yeah, yeah. Well, you'll love it. It's a really good machine.